Hey, welcome back to Tuesday Tea Time with Dorina. And I want to welcome all of our first time viewers and those that will be watching the replay. Welcome. I've been, as you can see at the bottom of the video, I have our Crown with Confidence Tea Party information listed below. So you are not going to want to miss this tea party. It is going to be an awesome workshop, and I am so excited with all the stuff that we have, our speakers and our business highlight, our team testimony, and our sofa chat. And I brought with me a little sample of our tea box giveaways. So these we're gonna have that on the table with some macarons inside of it from Sweet Ash Max. And so shout out to her. And so we're really excited about this. They just get better and better, I'm telling you. So anyway, so share with you my tea. This is one of my teacups. I don't know. Let's see if we can get this up here where you can see my teacup with my butterflies. This is one that I got for my birthday a couple of years ago. Was it a couple of years ago? A year ago, matter of fact. Okay, so anyway, I got peppermint. I got my honey in it. So, like I always say, I hope that you have your cup, no matter what beverage it is that you're drinking, and fill your cup up tonight with lots of wisdom, okay? All right, tea time. mm, this is good. You know, peppermint has got to be one of my favorites because, you know, I keep bringing the peppermint back. It's good for you, too. It's a herbal tea. Anyway, let's get to our topic tonight. Let's see. I forgot to put my Tuesday tea time sign up. Our topic tonight. Ooh, why should we set boundaries? Okay, so before we get into why we should set boundaries, remember we are talking to preteens on up to adulthood. So let's look at what boundaries are, okay? So boundaries serves as limitations, much like an imaginary line drawn in the sand or a personal bubble. So, you know, we all have our personal or we should have what we call our personal space, where, you know, when people get a little bit too close to you, you start feeling a little uncomfortable. I remember when I met my husband, and you know, I invited him. We're a blended family, so I invited him over with his son, and they came over for dinner and everything. And you know, it was nice, and we had a really good time. Well, one time I think I invited him over for dinner or something like that, and you know, if he just got close to me, I could feel something, you know, and I was like, ooh, you know, what is this? I don't think you need to get too close to me. So, you know, that's kind of like our boundaries. You know how you can feel somebody's aura when you get too close to them, or you can close your eyes and you just kind of know somebody's in your space or near your space. We're talking about boundaries, okay? And why should we set boundaries? let's talk about that. I want to start it out with this quote that let's see which one I want to start out with. Let's do this one. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, boundaries. It says if someone throws a fit because you set boundaries, get this clear, it's more evident that boundaries is needed. I mean, come on, if somebody's going to have a fit because you're saying, okay, well, I have certain limitations, I have certain standards that, you know, you have to live by, or I feel protected by having these certain lines and even boundaries where you decide, okay, I am not going to go past this boundary. I don't care how someone tries to provoke me. I refuse to go to this level with them. That is boundaries. And boundaries are important because we want to make sure that we protect ourselves. And that's what boundaries are for. Okay. Let's look at, let me remove this and let's look at a quote. I like to share quotes with you. So I have a quote by Brené Brown. She's a researcher, author, and a motivational speaker. And she said, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. So you can see that even setting boundaries takes courage. You know, Boundaries will stop people from walking all over you. Okay. And I remember that my sister in law told me this. I never forgot this when I first got married. She said, whatever you don't want to continue, she said, don't start. And oh, that is so important because I was thinking about how important it is that when you first get into a relationship, to establish those boundaries are very, very important. They can be a matter of respect or disrespect for one another, trust issues. You can eliminate those things. And some of us have already experienced where we had to go back and say, wait, you know what? I didn't set boundaries in these areas. These are the reasons why I'm hurting now, and so you can eliminate those hurts by being right up front with what your boundaries are. So set boundaries for yourself. There are limitations that you will not allow others to overstep, and there's boundaries that you yourself will not overstep because you have certain standards in life that you want to practice. And that is so important. Listen, whether you're in the workplace, whether you're in school, no matter where you are, you need to let people know that you have boundaries and stay true to whatever your boundaries are. If you don't like people hugging you, then don't just allow people to do that just to try to satisfy the other person, because at the end of the day, guess who's going to be disappointed with who? We will be disappointed with ourselves because we allow someone else to call the shots when we call the shots on what boundaries we decide for ourselves. Okay. So establishing boundaries is essential aspect of taking care of ourselves. Okay. You hear that? It involves setting clear guidelines, rules, and limits on how we want to be treated. Now, you know what? If you start out letting people mistreat you, they will continue to mistreat you. And I've heard somebody say this, that, sometimes, well, meekness takes strength, okay? And a lot of people take your meekness for weakness, but they really don't know that there are certain places you are not going to allow them to take you. So some people think that they can run over you because of that. But don't you worry about that, because you know what? You're still being you. And when it comes to it, you rise up to the occasion and you just let people know, hey, this is where I stand. I will not be moved from where I stand. This is my boundary. This is my line in the sand. And if you cross that line, then, we're going to have to readjust our relationship, or we just going to have to stop having a relationship. Because if no one if someone cannot respect your boundaries, come on, that's a sign right there that they don't even respect you. And you know what? If you don't stand up and respect your own boundaries, you can't expect other people to respect your boundaries. So it's so important that you know how you want to be treated. Okay. So respect yourself by putting limitations where other people cannot disrespect you. Okay. And sometimes it's just better to walk away, because why waddle down or window down to somebody else's level that will cause you to display an attitude or a reaction that is out of character. And if you're around people that are constantly pulling you out of character, it's time to change your flock. It's time to change who you flock with, who you group up with. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Birds of the same feather flock together. And you know what? If you ever want to soar and you want to go high, you need to hang around people that have wisdom. You need to hang around people that want a better life and striving for it, not the fairy tale thing, wishing something would happen and not putting anything to action to make it happen. You're gonna have some, honey. You're gonna have to work for it, because that brings value. When you work hard for something, you appreciate it. So don't allow other people's lack of boundaries to influence you to not live by boundaries or to not set boundaries, because that is very important. Okay. And it takes courage. It takes courage to set boundaries sometimes, because some people are just not going to like that. And especially if they're used to using you, or used to you not telling them or letting them know what your boundaries are, then it's kind of hard to swerve, to make that swerve. But you're going to have to make that turn and put things in proper perspective for your own good. Because if you don't, it will cause you to lose your own identity and start becoming what somebody else you wants you somebody what somebody else wants you to become, instead of sticking with who you want to be, who you are, and where you're going in life. All those things are very important. Okay. Tea time. So Make sure that you set boundaries for yourself, decide, how you want to be treated, and stick with that. Okay. Okay. By addressing problematic behavior and communicating what is acceptable and what is not, we can let others know where we stand and what we are willing to tolerate. This practice can significantly enhance our self esteem and our sense of worth. Okay. All right. So, thank you for joining us for Tuesday Tea Time. Make sure that you apply the wisdom, share, like us on Facebook and Instagram, and don't forget about the Crown with Confidence tea party that we're having on Saturday, August 12th. Okay. So, as I always tell you, Dorena loves you. And my friend, walk in wisdom. All right. You have a great night and keep those boundaries set.